I watched the Harry and Meghan Netflix documentary. Now, I'll be honest with you, before I watched it, I was not a fan of theirs. But now I've actually heard their side of the story, I fucking hate them.
The royal family, right, if you can imagine, they're like our Kardashian. Prince Harry is very much our Kanye. He occasionally dresses as a Nazi, and he f***ed up.
NBC has announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits. It will focus on Meghan Markle's character's struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for an unemployed immigrant.
Just shave it, Will.
Okay, just shut up about the hair.
What hair?
In California, we're just a regular couple living close to Oprah and far from the paparazzi. But not too far.
What?
The best thing is, no more following Granny's rules.
You sure about that?
If I want to play polo in my living room, who's gonna stop me?
Stop that.
Right away, Megs.
Simon Brodkin just finished watching Meghan and Harry's Netflix documentary, and instead of gaining sympathy for them, he ended up hating them even more than before. And not only that, he absolutely destroyed their cringeworthy H&M nicknames.
They started off and they're making interesting points about racism and misogyny. Then they start calling each other H&M, and I just thought, oh, do f*** off.
Simon's reaction perfectly captures what so many people felt after watching the documentary. They started making valid points about serious issues, then completely lost credibility with ridiculous details, like calling each other corporate brand initials. But there's one clip that's so funny that I've been watching it on repeat since yesterday. Ryan Reynolds and Conan O'Brien had something hilarious to say about Meghan's jam business. We'll get to that in a bit, but first you need to hear everything else Simon said.
Harry starts describing this one date with Meghan as the night, let me quote you here, me and M pulled the pin on a fun grenade. I actually started rooting for Prince Andrew.
That's what I'm talking about. This shit means something to me, man.
Harry's description of a date as pulling the pin on a fun grenade is so painfully try-hard that it made Simon root for Prince Andrew. Think about how terrible your writing has to be for someone to prefer the controversial royal over you. That's the level of cringe we're dealing with here. Simon then addressed one of Meghan's most ridiculous complaints from the documentary.
Harry says, how do you explain to someone who you've just started dating that they have to curtsy to your own grandmother?
How do you explain that you bow to your grandmother and that you will need to curtsy, especially to an American? Like, that's weird.
And I'm thinking, maybe just tell her that your grandmother is the fucking queen.
Harry acted like explaining that his grandmother is the queen and requires a curtsy was some impossible task. Meghan went to Northwestern. She's not stupid. She could have Googled basic royal protocol in 5 minutes. The idea that this was some shocking revelation is absurd. But Simon's most brutal takedown came when he discussed their security complaints.
They were complaining that to pay for their own security. They were not happy about that. Yeah, they were very worried about their safety, which I get that aspect of things. After 6 episodes, I wanted to attack them.
They're multimillionaires complaining about having to pay for their own security. Most people can't afford security at all. Yet, they're acting victimized because taxpayers won't fund their California lifestyle. Simon's joke about wanting to attack them after 6 episodes perfectly captures how exhausting their constant whining becomes. He then delivered his final assessment about why Meghan was really with Harry.
I don't know how to break this to you, H. But if you weren't in the royal family, M wouldn't be with you.
Simon's basically saying if Harry wasn't in the royal family, Meghan wouldn't have been interested. She wasn't after Harry the person, she was after Harry the prince. The title, the platform, the global attention that came with being royal, that's what she wanted. Without the crown connection, he's just another wealthy guy in LA. But Simon wasn't the only one who found their story ridiculous. Chris Rock had his own take on Meghan's constant complaining, particularly about her claims of ignorance.
Meghan Markle. Seemed like a nice lady, just complaining. I was like, didn't she hit the light skin lottery and still going on complaining, acting all dumb like she don't know nothing?
Chris is pointing out the absurdity of Meghan's victim narrative when she literally married into royalty and instant worldwide fame. She won the ultimate lottery and still found ways to play the victim. That level of privilege combined with that level of complaining is what makes people tune out.
Going on Oprah, I didn't know. I had no idea how racist they were. It's the royal family. You didn't Google these motherfuckers?
Her claim of not knowing what she was getting into crumbles under any examination. She's an educated woman with internet access and decades of royal family coverage at her fingertips. Pretending she was completely blind to royal life is insulting to everyone watching. Chris is exposing her act of playing dumb.
They're so racist. They wanted to know how brown the baby's gonna be. I'm like, that's not racist. Because even black People want to know how brown the baby gonna be. Shit.
This might be Chris's most devastating point because it comes from his own perspective as a black comedian. When he says even black families want to know how the baby will look, he's removing the racism accusation from their biggest complaint. It's not prejudice, it's normal family curiosity about genetics and features. And the comedy world's assault didn't stop there. Colin Jost joined the pile-on with his own savage comparisons.
President Trump also announced a new trade deal with the UK that will reopen British markets for American companies. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
Colin Jost's SNL joke landed perfectly because of what it implied. Neither country actually wants them. Britain would rather give trade concessions than take them back.
Elon built electric cars, he's going to Mars. Why is he even involving himself with Twitter? It would be like if the Prince of England gave it all up just to marry an actor from Suits.
Comparing Harry's decision to Elon's Twitter disaster reframes their entire love story as a catastrophic business mistake. Elon had Tesla and SpaceX. Harry had royal duty and purpose. Both threw it away for something that looked good on paper but destroyed their credibility. But perhaps the most unfiltered destruction came from Kelly Osbourne, who held absolutely nothing back.
I think Harry's a f***ing twat. I do.
Kelly's assessment of Harry was blunt and unapologetic. This wasn't a calculated roast for comedy. This was genuine disgust being expressed publicly.
He's a whining, whinging, complaining, woe is me, I'm the only one that's ever had mental problems.
The victim mentality mockery hits hard because it exposes Harry's self-absorption. Mental health struggles are real and valid, but Harry positions himself as uniquely damaged when millions of people face similar or worse challenges without the wealth and privilege to cushion them.
Like, my life was so hard. Everybody's f***ing life is hard.
Yeah,
you were
true.
the prince of
That's
a
true.
goddamn country who dressed up as a f***ing Nazi, and now you're trying to come back as the Pope? Suck it.
Kelly's final point about the Nazi costume is devastating because it highlights Harry's hypocrisy perfectly. He wants forgiveness and understanding for his past mistakes while refusing to extend that same grace to his own family. The ending captured exactly how fed up people are with his moral posturing. But even all these brutal roasts were nothing compared to what Ryan Reynolds and Conan said about Meghan's business ventures. That clip is so funny that I've been watching it on repeat, but before we get to that, you need to see how the mockery extended beyond just their story to their actual work.
Turns out Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will still get paid millions of dollars for doing absolutely nothing. And that's just by Netflix.
That joke by Joe Coy at the Golden Globes hit hard in a room full of actual content creators who have to deliver on their contracts. Netflix paid Harry and Meghan a reported $100 million. And what have they produced? A documentary about themselves and basically nothing else. Compare that to other creators who are churning out multiple series and films to justify their deals. And the attacks on their work didn't stop there. Saturday Night Live wasn't holding back either, taking direct shots at Meghan's acting career.
My brother's fiance, Miss Meghan Markle, is on the American program Suits.
Yes, Wednesdays, 8 p.m, USA Network.
The only difference between that show and this is people watch this one.
SNL pointed out the uncomfortable truth that nobody actually watched Suits during its original run. The show only became relevant because Meghan married Harry. Without the royal connection, it would have remained an obscure cable drama that most people never heard of.
Whenever the kids are being fussy and not going to bed, she puts on an episode of Suits and they're out. So, what are you doing? Ow! Stop it! Stop it!
The joke about using Suits episodes as a sleep aid for children was absolutely savage. When your show's primary function is putting kids to bed, your acting legacy isn't just dead, it's being used as a sedative. But the comedy world wasn't finished. British comedian Jimmy Carr had his own brutal observations that cut even deeper.
I said Meghan Markle is, of course, a lifelong feminist, which she's demonstrated by marrying a prince and giving up her job.
Carr exposed the contradiction that everyone noticed but few dared to say publicly. She built a brand around feminist values, then demonstrated those values by marrying into wealth and giving up her career to become financially dependent on a man. The irony is thick.
Harry and Meghan say they'd now like to split their time between spending your money in the UK and spending your money in Canada.
Carr's taxpayer joke highlighted their entitlement perfectly. They want the benefits of both the UK and Canada, splitting their time between countries while expecting taxpayers in both places to fund their lifestyle. That's not independence. That's just being expensive. Perhaps the strangest moment in this entire saga came when Joe Rogan found himself randomly targeted by Prince Harry.
One time, I just woke up, I'm in my underwear, I plop down in front of the TV, I turn it on. The moment I turn it on, Prince Harry's talking shit about me. I'm like,
The randomness of being targeted by Prince Harry caught Rogan completely off guard. Here's a guy who left the royal family to escape scrutiny, yet he's spending his time watching American podcasts and publicly calling out hosts by name. It shows how obsessed Harry has become with controlling narratives and policing what people say.
he's like, Joe Rogan's giving out dangerous vaccine misinformation. And my first thought was, did I? I might have.
But Joe Rogan took this attack by Harry so unseriously that he funnily admitted on air that he might have actually spread virus misinformation. That moment of self-doubt and honest admission is what made the clip go viral. The mockery extended to every aspect of their lives. Even their ridiculous couple nicknames became material for late night shows.
Meghan Markle has finally revealed why she and Prince Harry call each other M and H.
And he'll say M and you'll say H and your friends say M and it just is a thing.
It's a thing.
And do you both love it?
Yes, and I like nicknames a lot.
What could it be? A mystery for the ages.
Colbert mocked the supposed mystery and revelation behind why they call each other M and H. Meghan hyped it up like some deep romantic secret when it's literally just their initials. The self-importance around every tiny detail of their lives is exhausting. While their professional failures were being mocked, things got even more personal. Jimmy Kimmel took aim at their decision to move to America to escape racism.
Harry said racism was a big part of their decision to leave, which you know things are bad at Buckingham Palace if they came to America to get away from racism.
Kimmel's point is devastating because it exposes the absurdity of their logic. Harry making this excuse means they just wanted to move to America and cooked up a convenient reason that doesn't hold up under scrutiny. America has its own well-documented history with racism, so using that as justification for leaving the UK makes zero sense.
They should hope that the kid looks more like Meghan than Harry. No offense, but Harry kind of looks like the guy who played Screech, may he rest in peace.
Kimmel then went after Harry's appearance by comparing him to Screech from Saved by the Bell. The joke is brutal in its simplicity. Harry isn't exactly known for his looks, so maybe their kids looking more like Meghan isn't the worst outcome. The personal roast continued as Conan O'Brien had his own bizarre take on what happened to their wax figures.
Now, I was curious what they did with Harry and Meghan's wax figures, so I found the museum employee who's temporarily storing them.
Conan brought on another comedian to do a bit about storing Harry and Meghan's wax figures after they were removed from Madame Tussauds. The fact that their figures got removed at all speaks volumes about their falling popularity.
Oliver, you have generously offered to keep the wax figures of Harry and Meghan safe.
Yeah, that's correct. And if I may, I would just like to say that I'm definitely not using the wax figures for sex stuff.
The immediate unprompted denial about not using the wax figures for inappropriate purposes made it exponentially funnier. Conan just kept making weirder and weirder jokes and wouldn't stop, which made the whole bit even more hilarious.
They are in a loving home, and I treat them better than the museum ever did. They didn't appreciate Meghan's soft hands or Harry's supple lips.
The bit about treating the figures better than the museum, and specifically mentioning Meghan's soft hands and Harry's supple lips, is absurdly detailed. It's that weird specificity that makes the joke uncomfortable and hilarious at the same time. But perhaps the most telling story came from Alexandra Daddario, who revealed how a casual Meghan encounter affected her daily life.
Meghan Markle has ruined your workout regime. Is this true? If so,
yes, she has.
In how?
James Corden seemed genuinely confused about how Meghan could possibly ruin someone's workout routine. The answer was both simple and perfectly illustrative of the Meghan problem.
Well, she came into New York last weekend,
Yeah.
and she went to a yoga place called Moto Yoga, which is my yoga place. It's
Right.
where I always go.
Alexandra explained that Meghan showed up at Moto Yoga in New York, which happens to be Alexandra's regular studio that she's been attending for years. One celebrity visit was all it took to create chaos.
They have places in LA and New York, but now that she went there, everyone's going to want to go there,
Right.
and there's not going to be any room. It's going to be harder to get into.
This perfectly captures the Meghan effect. She should be self-aware enough to avoid small public places like yoga studios where her presence will cause chaos for regular people. That lack of consideration is exactly what frustrates people. But the most brutal moment came when her business ventures themselves became the punchline. Ryan Reynolds was telling a story about his father's career change when Conan made the perfect connection.
Got out of copping and then became a food broker, which we're like, come on, that's
What?
CIA, right?
Yes,
And
food
he's like, no,
brokers.
I'm really am a middleman for jars of jam.
He works for Meghan Markle.
Yes. My
Really
dad-
tiny jams, harvestable jams.
Yes, exactly.
Made from the oils of Montecito.
The way Conan immediately linked Ryan's dad being a middleman for jars of jam to Meghan Markle's business was comedy perfection. The timing was flawless, and the joke about tiny jams, harvestable jams, and oils of Montecito perfectly captures how pretentious and ridiculous her branding sounds. She's not selling jam, she's selling an overpriced lifestyle fantasy wrapped in aspirational language. But Tim Dillon had his own theory about why Meghan's lifestyle brand approach works despite being completely completely absurd.
Well, what's brilliant about what she's doing is she knows people want to spend money, and spending money makes them feel like they're getting something that's better, even though it might not necessarily be true.
Tim's pointing out the psychology behind luxury lifestyle marketing. People will pay premium prices for ordinary products if you convince them it makes them special, sophisticated, or part of an exclusive club. Meghan's not selling better jam. She's selling the idea that buying her jam makes you more refined than people who buy regular jam at the grocery store.
She just thinks we're all monsters and we're all just kind of pigs in the mud, and that she's helping us with jam and honey.
This is the most damning assessment of Meghan's entire business philosophy. Tim's saying she views her customers as inferior people who need her guidance to live properly. The jam and honey aren't just products, they're symbols of her supposed superiority over regular people who don't know how to live well. It's condescending, elitist, and exactly the attitude that makes people reject everything she does. The bigger issue is what this means for their future. Reports suggest they're running out of money, King Charles has cut off financial support, and their content deals keep falling through. When the entire entertainment industry turns against you and your business ventures become comedy material, is there any way back? What do you think? Do you agree with Simon's take, or do you think they deserve more sympathy? Let me know in the comments below and subscribe for more royal drama.